Good evening, everyone. Dr. Stacy here. Welcome. Happy Tuesday, or congratulations if you're watching the replay. So, we have a fantastic evening planned for you tonight. Dr. Stan Gravely is here again. We love having him on. He has a wealth of knowledge of information. I'll share with you a little bit about him here in just a second. This is our second week in a row we are talking about immune health, with it being August, back to school, kids, grandkids, just getting your immune system in line for the winter months that are coming. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but they'll be here, and we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep our immune system strong now going into those months. I am not a medical doctor. Dr. Stan is not a medical doctor. We are not your doctors. And so the information that's going to be shared this evening is for informational purposes. If you're a guest, welcome to hearing more and learning more about LifeWave's incredible technology and how it works and how it can help you in your life. But we are not making any claims to prevent, treat, cure, diagnose anything that's going on with you. Of course, if you have questions about your health in regards to medicines or whatnot, your care, please check with your healthcare practitioner. They will be able to help you best with that. And as always, your health is really your responsibility. So listen with open ears because there's a lot of great information here tonight that can help you in your wellness journey. So let's talk a little bit about the amazing Dr. Stanley Gravely. He is married to his beautiful wife, Jody, for 46 years. They have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 1 great grandchild on the way soon. That's exciting.
It is. It's
Very exciting.
very exciting.
Dr. Stan graduated from Liberty University School of the Bible, New Life Bible College with a Bible diploma. He has a Bachelor of Theology, a Master, and a PhD in Christian counseling. He is certified as a human behavioral consultant from the Maxwell Leadership Team. He's also certified as a vitalist in natural healing and a master herbalist with Dr. Christopher School of Natural Healing. He is certified in Hallelujah Acres as a health minister and a certified life science practitioner in health and nutrition and an ordained minister. Dr. Stan has been a pastor, church planter, director of a children's home, director of a special needs program with Servant Hearts Ministries, and a certified family counselor. So, Dr. Stan, thank you for being here again. Let's talk about immune health and how this technology can help the listeners tonight.
Well, I'm really excited to share because I spent a lot of my life battling colds and flus and viruses. As a child, I used to, all the way from a child to adulthood, I used to get tonsillitis once a year, bronchitis once a year. I used to catch all the colds, the flus, the viruses. And when I was in my early 30s, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, a lot of times, I went through the winter this one year when I was so sick all the time. My dad was in an accident. I couldn't go into the hospital to see him on so many occasions. He was in intensive care for like 6 weeks, and a lot of times I was just waving to him. So I was looking for answers, and part of the reason I was getting sick, Dr. Stacy, is that my immune system, I didn't have one. It was shot. And there's reasons for that. And of course, our diet and our lifestyle affect that very strongly. So one of the things, a tip for maintaining a strong immune system through the winter is to make sure you're hydrating properly with water, getting rid of, because what I used to live on was in the mornings, I drank coffee and then I drank tea, drank sodas all day long. That's not water, and that's not going to, boost your immune system or give you good health. And so, that was one of the things you've got to change is get off of that junk drinks that a lot of people are doing. And it's like a cup of coffee can, depending on the research, a plain cup of coffee may not hurt you and has some benefit, but people always adding what? Sugar and creamers that are refined and full of chemicals, which brings up number two. Eliminated all the sugar tea because living in the South, we're big iced tea drinkers with lots of sugar. And I got rid of my Dr. Peppers and my Mountain Dews and all of that. But I also eliminated refined sugar. We need sugar, glucose in our diet, but we need to get it in the forms of fruits and vegetables, especially berries in the winter. Get some blueberries and strawberries and raspberries into your diet. Eat an orange every once in a while, or grapefruit, because the best thing to do to boost your immune system is feed it with these high antioxidant, high vitamin C. Now, a tip that I started doing, Dr. Stacy, every morning I learned this from when I went to Dr. Christopher's School of Natural Healing. This goes back to Hippocrates. The first thing in the morning is I hydrate, drink 2 cups of water, but then I do a ginger tea and I put a whole fresh lemon in it, squeeze the juice in it, add a tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar, and sometimes I'll even put a teaspoon of Manuka honey in it and drink that after I drink a couple of glasses of water. Now, this will boost your immune system. Hippocrates used it in his practice. The father of modern medicine, was a naturalist, not an allopathic doctor, but more of a naturopathic doctor. So, that's very important. Now, when you start cleaning up your diet, what you're doing is you're alkalizing and you're detoxifying the body and allowing it to detoxify. So the other thing that really did help me was I started rebounding. Part of the immune system, one of the biggest parts of the immune system is your lymph nodes, your lymphatic vessels, and they have little fibers in the system. And the only way they are exercised is if you exercise. They don't have a pump or a system. So when you're jumping up and down, those fibers are jumping up and down, and it allows that whole lymphatic system to eliminate the toxins and bring fresh nutrients to the whole body. So it only takes 10 or 15 minutes on a rebounder to boost your immune system as far as that goes. And of course, getting proper sleep. Gosh, you're not going to have a good immune system unless you're getting a good 7 or 8 hours of sleep, getting the stress under control. I recommend boosting your immunity with probiotics. Probiotics in your gut is what a lot of people don't realize. The gut is one of the main immune systems of your body, and you got to keep it full of friendly bacteria and not unfriendly bacteria, or you're going to get gunked up. And next thing you know, you're going to get auto intoxicated and you're going to start to have colds and flus. Because what happens when we have colds and flus, pneumonia, it's our body is backed up with toxic waste, and it goes, into our sinuses, and then it can back up in the lungs. We get pneumonia and things like that. It was amazing, Stacey, in my 30s, by doing something as simple as eliminating the refined carbohydrates, the junk foods, the Cokes, the sugary drinks, started to drink more water, to do some vibrating. I see some people talking about the vibrational plate. I have a Zaz sitting right over here to the right of me, Z-A-A-Z. It's a really nice vibrational plate machine. Just make sure if you get one, it's an oscillating vibrational plate. You want it to be a tri-motor that does oscillating in a tri mode. So look for tri-oscillating to get the best effect of a vibrational plate machine. If you want to know what the best rebounder is, just reach out to me. I've been rebounding for 35 years, tried every one of them. And I've got a guy in Utah that has designed one that really works best with your body. Now, if you do start getting a cold or a flu, I don't recommend. Some people will start taking echinacea during the cold season. I just tell you, wait. If you do feel like you're starting to get a cold, echinacea is a great alternative. But what I would recommend is when you start to feel the cold, make sure you got your echinacea on hand. If it says to take two twice a day, I tell people take four times a day, every 2 or 3 hours. You really have to load up on the echinacea on the front end for it to really be able to knock the cold out. If it gets real serious, you can go to golden seal, some herbs like that. But when you're doing ginger and lemon and the apple cider vinegar every morning, you are boosting your immune system and cleansing your system very well. So we get to the aspect of LifeWave. You know, I was doing real good, Dr. Stacy, till I hit about 60. The lifestyle was really working great, and then all of a sudden 60 hit, and I started to get some pings and dings again. And, that's when we found LifeWave, was shortly after that. We've been with LifeWave now be 4 years in December. And it was just the magic for us because I noticed that I started to get sick every once in a while, and I never had gotten sick, in 30 years. My blood pressure started going up. I just started to, for the first time in 30 years of, taking care of myself, I was doing better than most people my age. But, I could tell I was missing something. So what I love about LifeWave technology, that is the something that makes the difference. Because as we know, as we get older, those pluripotent cells in our body are no longer repairing and healing, rejuvenating and restoring the lymphatic system. The bone marrow, man, the bone marrow is a big part of the immune system. That's why you hear about bone transplants, because when the immunity system is shot, they'll start doing bone transplant, trying to get some so that the blood cells can get reworked into the body. And so because the whole immune system is organs, blood cells, proteins, chemicals. And so when those pluripotent cells aren't going in there and repairing all these major immunity organs, they begin to break down, and then you begin to break down. So what we know is with our X39, the flagship product of LifeWave, we can begin to repair, heal, restore, and rejuvenate our organs as soon as we put it on. I love the clinical study. If we wear it 6 months, it will reverse our biological age by, 8 years. And I'm all for that. And that's what we noticed when we first started using the technology. Within 4 weeks, most of my pings and dings were gone. That's maybe not typical. Some people may take 4 months, 12 months. I've known we had a lady she had been patching for over a year. And she's like, I think close to 80 years old, and she was about to give up, but she kept on going. We said, just keep going, keep going. And sure enough, last month, she called us up and says, it's working. I feel better now, better than I ever have, because sometimes for some people, it takes a little longer. We all would like to be a one patch wonder, but it don't happen for everybody. That's a very small amount of people. But because I believe, Dr. Stacy, my lifestyle was good when I started using the technology, I was working with the technology because of the cleaner lifestyle. Whereas if you don't have a clean lifestyle, it's going to take longer. Will they work if you don't change anything? Yes, that's the good news. But just think, if you did start eliminating the sugar and the junk foods and started, eating more high antioxidant foods, I like to call it high nutrient food sources, that pack a big punch. It's like, I do eat wild sockeye salmon because it's one of the most potent, powerful wild caught fish that you can get out there. It's full of nutrients, and that David Schmidt recommended this to us a few years back. I was pretty much a vegan at the time. I started adding it into my diet, and I saw a big difference in some of the results that I was getting. So again, the technology works, but it works better when you work with it, which is why I'm excited about Celergize, because when you add Celergize to the X39, I'll just read you what the company says. This refreshing wellness supplement includes seed buckthorn fruit extract, which supports healthy stem cell activity. That's what I love about the new Celergize product. Allows us to use, in conjunction with X39 and with Celergize, we can say it supports healthy stem cell activity, which is amazingly wonderful. I'm excited about it. So every time when I talk about, X39, I say, and when you combine it with Celergize, you are giving that a supercharge that will support healthy stem cell activity. I just love being able to say that. As we were told, for so long, we could say stem cell active, and we can't if we just say it in the context of X39. So I'm being compliant here, but at the same time, I'm cutting you loose and training you how to use the term legally, so to speak, within the FTC, FDA regulations that we deal with. So I'm excited about X39, but even more excited because tomorrow I'm receiving my X2O. So now I'm going to put my water, I'm going to be drinking this water that's light infused, which is going to light up my body with all this wonderful energy. And then the Celergi is added to it and putting on my X39. I'm just expecting to get phenomenal results. I'm so looking forward to it. I believe I'll be back to about 30 years old here in about 6 or 8 weeks using these three together. But you see, you got to rebuild the organs and systems of the body that your immune system has, or it's going to start to wear out, unravel. And unfortunately, as we know, by the time you hit 60 years old, like I was, you're roughly, depending on your lifestyle, whatever, you're around 0 to 30% pluripotent cell production in the body. Then when you hit 70, it goes down to pretty much nothing, which is why people normally die between 70 and 80 years old. I don't want to die between 70 and 80. I want to live, because a lot of my mentors who didn't have our technology lived to be 90 some years old and a few over 100. So I think with this technology, we can keep those organs and systems rebuilding and repairing. And I believe with the new X2O machine, our Celergize, and all the things that we've got going, 120 is not a is reasonable. You might think it's crazy, but I'm believing for 120 plus, because I figure we'll get some other stuff down the pipe, because he's not stopping with stuff that he can use to help himself and others live long. But of course, too, when we're talking about the diet, when I cleaned up the diet, Dr. Stacy, I was alkalizing my body and getting inflammation out of the body. Because as we know, root cause of every disease is inflammation. Now, a little inflammation is good, because when we hurt ourselves, the body responds with inflammation, to bring the blood cells to that area to repair and heal. But when inflammation gets out of control, then it becomes a problem, and we get sick, we get run down, we swell. And so that's why I love telling people, use the Eon. That is our anti-inflammatory patch. So X39 by itself, yes, will take care of inflammation, but the inflammation loves to eat up those pluripotent cells in our body. So I always say, when you pair it up with Eon, it's like now you're bringing in the Marine Corps to assist the Army in the battle of restoring our health. So it's like two partners that come together and help to get that out of your body. And it's amazing, too. I've seen ourselves personally, when people get inflammation out of the body, even without losing weight, their face gets thinner, their body starts losing inches. Especially if you're exercising and working out, you're not all you're losing is inflammation, and most of it hides in the fat, which is where most cancer starts, is in the fat. So there's a little cue for you also. And of course, the last thing, as far as, with our technology in conjunction with the good lifestyle, is adding glutathione. Glutathione, as we know, most people know, it's the master antioxidant. Now, antioxidants are so important, which is why you need to eat that high nutrient diet. And of course, that would include things like, especially wild blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, lemons, limes. Back in the old days, when they used to call the people in the Navy limeys, because they were getting sick and diseased. So they started taking all the lemons and limes on the boats, and they were eating these every day in their diet, and it started to eliminate all the diseases that they were experiencing. And hence, if you ever heard the term limey, that's where it came from, which is why I recommend, instead of the best vitamin C supplement, in my opinion, is squeeze out some fresh lemon juice, lime juice every day, put it in your water, put it in your tea, and you're loading yourself up with all these wonderful antioxidants. But as we know, with glutathione, our clinical studies have demonstrated that on average, you're going to raise your glutathione levels 300% in 24 hours. But there were some people, when I read the study, I went back and read the study, Stacey, and some people got as high as 400%. So I'm just believing for 300 to 400% increase of my antioxidant power. I believe I'm going to be one of those people that have a higher. But why is that important? Because, I call glutathione the Pac-Man. It goes in and eats up the garbage. And y'all play the game Pac-Man. I love that game. It was one of the first ones that came out. I think I was in my 20s and I used to sit at the beach and play Pac-Man for hours because I just got hooked on it. But that's what's happening with glutathione. It goes up and Eon will assist with this. Eon and glutathione both help take out the garbage, help to take out the mucus, help to strengthen the immune system so that the invaders and the viruses and the bugs. Now, the patches, as Dr. Stacy said earlier, they're not doing a thing. All they're doing is triggering biological functions in the body so that the body can heal itself. The patches couldn't heal anything. But when you put it on the body and it's activated and it starts to stimulate those peptides, it stimulates your body's own natural biochemical, bioelectrical functions of the body to operate at more youthful levels. And so, especially when the winter time's coming in, and people are more susceptible to colds and flus. Cleaning up the diet is so important. Drinking the water, getting rid of all that refined carbohydrates out of your diet, doing some form of exercise. If you can't rebound, at least walk or do whatever you like to do. Go, Jody's a YMCA girl, and I like to stay home and work out in my own little office gym, so to speak. Some people like to swim, some people like to walk. But if you only have a few minutes a day, rebounding gives you more bang for the buck. NASA used it for the astronauts when they used to come off of their missions because it builds bone density really fast. But 10 minutes of jogging on a rebounder would be the equivalent of jogging an hour outside. That's how efficient it is. I was lucky to be trained by Harold, Mr. Snyder. He's an Olympic, David Snyder, he's an Olympic trainer in California, passed away a few years back. But he was a big, that's where I learned what to do. But there's other ones, we learn from, but that's a very important thing. So when you take your lifestyle, clean it up, even if it's just a little bit, and do some of the things I've recommended. When you're using our technology, you're setting yourself up to where really you shouldn't have any colds or flus or viruses through the winter, because that's what happened to me. I used to be a sickly person, not not deathly ill, but I was sick and tired. I don't know about y'all. I don't like a cold. I don't like a flu. I don't like getting a virus. I don't like diarrhea and all that kind of stuff. That's just yucky, no good stuff. And the first thing we did in our 30s was change our lifestyle and eliminated it. Then when we turned 60, the LifeWave technology took us to the next level to where we can look at the next 60 years in a whole different light than what most people will, because they're going to start at 60 and all, we're at the age we go to the, reunions, and we're usually the best looking, youthful looking couple out there. We dance, we have a good time. And people ask us, all the time, what are you doing? What are you doing? And we just say, well, we've got this Band-Aid, this patch that we put on our body. And that's what you want to be. When you're 60, like me, when you're 67 years old, you don't want to be headed to the nursing home. And, you want to be headed towards another 60 years of good life. And so that's my motto. I want to die with my boots on, not a diaper. And I believe that when you combine all these things, we can look good, feel good inside and out, add years to our life and life to our years by simply doing some basic lifestyle things and then adding LifeWave technology on top of it.
Dr. Stan. Woo! I
I rolled as quick as I could there.
You did amazing. So many nuggets. So many nuggets. So I'm going to go back here to a couple questions because we've got about 5 minutes. And I want to go back to because you're a massive rebounder vibration plate guy, which is incredible. So tell them your rebounder. What do you use?
I use one called Celergize. It's on my website, drstanphd.com. And if you look for the one that says rebounder, it goes to David's website. It's in Utah. And I've used all the rebounders out there. And one of the reasons why I use his, number one, it's durable. I used to go through a rebounder every 6 months to a year because I'm on it every day for the most part. Jody will tell you it's normally 7 days a week unless we just can't take it with us on the trips. And as you know, Dr. Stacy, I'll take it with me on the trip when I can.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the best one on the market. But also, it's durable, but the springs are specially made, different from any other spring system out there, different from the bungee cord and all that. That gives you a. He's done a lot of study on this. He had this created in a laboratory to get the correct bounce, to get the best centrifugal forces on your body so that when you're bouncing, you're not hurting your joints. You're enhancing your whole body with the system. Don't go out to Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods and buy one for $50. They'll do more damage to your body than good. And the key with the vibrational plate machines is that they've come down a whole lot in price. And you can go to Amazon. The key thing is try oscillating. That's what you're looking for, because some of them just have, a single motor, or they just go back and forth like this. You want one that oscillates, and it's a tri-oscillator, and it is the best kind to get. And you can get those now, gosh, for around $150, But I've got one that when it was new was $4,000, and they used to cost anywhere close to $10,000. Dr. McCullough used to sell them eight or nine, $10,000, but now you can get a decent one for your home, really for around $150, $200.
Okay, and I see on your website it says back to school. They've got a back to school code for like a discount.
Yep, yep. And that's the one to get. You're going to pay. I call it a middle of the road price. You're not. You're probably going to pay $400 to $600 for it, but it's going to last you forever. I mean, I went. The first one I got from him, I went probably 5, 6 years before I even had to think about replacing things on it. And then this one I have now, I've been using probably for 4 years, and I haven't replaced a spring. It hasn't broke or anything. Plus, the science behind it it is important how you're bouncing to get the most G force and centrifugal force
Mhm.
uh, for your body.
Right, and I know you said at the beginning that when you're rebounding or using these vibration plates, that's helping to turn over the lymphatic system. And your
Exactly.
lymphatic system is your drainage system, and so we've got to get the fluids, the toxins, the fat, things like that moving out of the body. So this is a key component. And we also know with the energy enhancer helps turn over your lymphatic system as well too. So that would be I don't do you use the energy enhancer, Dr.?
Oh, yes. I always tell people if you're needing to boost your immune system, that's the go-to patch, because after you're using the others, or somebody's really having a hard time, the energy enhancer the mitochondrial function is going to help energize your cells to operate better. And so, yes, that is, in my opinion, a patch to use, especially if you are trying to overcome any kind of health challenges in your life. That would definitely boost it for sure. I
Yeah.
like to call them booster. Ron Ledford, he was teaching, I used to call them support patches. And Ron, when we got to meet him in Utah, he gave us a lot of nuggets, but he calls them booster patches. And I love that term,
That's nice.
boost. But we're boosting X39. So everybody needs to realize
Mhm.
X39 is the flagship, and then we add the others as we can.
Right, absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Stan, for your time this evening, your wealth of knowledge and information, not only about LifeWave's technology, but a lot of other nuggets I know that people walked away with to help keep themselves healthy and their immune system in tip-top shape. So we are always grateful to have you on to take the time here to pour into our LifeWave community. So thank you so much for being here this evening.
It's an honor. Always glad to serve.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Stan. We look forward to seeing you soon. If you are a guest tonight, get back with the person that invited you. They're going to help you answer any other questions you have, and of course, help you get set up with the patches of your choice. I know you heard about a lot of them tonight, which is a lot of really good nuggets to take away when you're out there boosting the benefits of X39. I love that. So, thank you, Dr. Stan. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.